not supposed to bring the crap in.
Oh, yeah. Just this comes in. Thank God we stopped bringing the crap in.
As I sit back, relax.
You left your purple juice on. No, I can't because I don't know. I won't be able to pick up the audio otherwise. Hi. Don't you want to take a shower anyway? Mm-hmm. You looking through the laptop?
Yeah.
Thank you. the fuck? What is creating feedback? Stupid fucking YouTube Premium.
card.
Hello, Scooter.
Hello. I'm very excited for this live debate live on your YouTube channel. I've been waiting for it all day.
I'm very excited for it too, and I've also been waiting for it all day. So that makes two of us.
That's incredible. I kind of forgot what we were going to talk about. It's something about what, Democrats, I think.
Oh yeah, well,
We can talk about whatever we want, just let it be a rolling.
Well, yeah, I agree with that, of course. The original topic was who is better, Republicans or Democrats? And you were going to take the position Democrats, and I was going to take the position Republicans. But I absolutely 100% agree that we can go wherever the winds blow us for the time that we have.
Yeah. I mean, it largely boils down to policy preferences. More of my preferences line up with Democrats. More of yours line up with Republicans,
Sure.
That's probably where it boils down to.
Well, yeah, but the details of that is where it gets interesting,
Yeah, sure.
So, for example, what would be your...
Hold on, am I still here? There we go. Sorry. I accidentally closed my laptop. And then had it closed for a few seconds, and I opened it back up. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good. So I was just going to ask you what your primary reason for choosing the Democratic Party over the Republican Party for, which one would be more moral to vote for.
Hold on, I cannot hear anything you were saying. I will leave and rejoin.
Okay, take your time.
There we go. Okay, I hear you now. I accidentally closed and reopened my laptop, and that kind of reset everything. I don't know why. But we should be good now.
Okay. So my question is, what would be, if you had to pick your first most important reason for picking the Democratic Party over the Republican Party, what would it be? Like, if you could only pick one?
That's a good question. I will think about it for a few seconds and then provide a response.
Take your time. I'm busily drinking my beer, so I'm not in a hurry.
There are a myriad of policies to choose from. There are a lot of them. This will be a hard one.
Have you done any thinking about which policy issues matter to you most in general, like disaggregated from choosing between Democrats and Republicans, per se?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so couldn't you just use the issue that you care most about and then just view it through that lens?
Yeah, that's good thinking. I think the government is a very important part of politics. And so you can see how the government plays into all of these things as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
All these different issues is sort of an overarching thing. So I really care about the government and how the government does stuff.
That seems like all the policies, not one.
Well, it's sort of a broad... It does influence everything else, but how you control the size of government power over our lives in broad terms. We could talk about free speech, for example, which is what the government does not allow, what it enforces in terms of speech. And the free speech influences so much of civil society, right? It trickles down to so many other topics. But it is in itself a distinct topic, right? So,
wait, so your first example of an actual policy was free speech, but I find it hard to believe that that's the thing you care most about if you would choose the Democratic Party over the Republican Party in today's era.
Yeah, I really, when it comes to the government, I care about what the government does, how it intervenes in the economy and social life, in broad strokes, right? Not just specific topics, because there can always be an overarching philosophy to how you approach many different topics.
Okay, but that's a little bit too broad. I mean, it can be overarching and it can be broad brushes, but it has to somehow delineate itself as different from what the Republican Party stands for, right?
Hmm. So, what would you say that the Republican Party stands for when it comes to the size of government and the role of government in economic life? Just in broad terms.
I'd say they're generally opposed.
They're opposed to government entirely in these,
They're
or
opposed
just
to
general?
government, almost all forms of government social spending, or all forms.
Do you support this?
Um, I do, with the caveat that I support people getting the things that they both need and want, also. So I just don't think that it's appropriate for the government to be the vehicle for that process for a number of reasons. But I do disagree with the general conservative idea that it's not good to give people things in general.
I like to have the stuff that I want to have, and I like to have the stuff that I need to have. I agree with you on that.
Right.
So you said that the government maybe shouldn't be. It wouldn't be appropriate for the government to be that vehicle. Why not?
Well, because for a number of reasons, because it increases the size of government, which is dangerous, and because it's inherently wasteful, which government programs always are. So, if it could be done a more efficient way, which it can be in those cases, it should be. And because the primary reason is because, well, I guess the secondary reason after the expansive government leads to tyranny reason, but the secondary reason, a very photo finish close second for me, would be that I think it's simply foolish not to profit off of the enrichment of impoverished people. I think that that's just simply a missed business opportunity, and I don't think that the uplifting of poor people is in any way contradictory to the general structure of capitalism.
I also think that not profiting off of poor people is a missed business opportunity. Yes.
Specifically off of enriching them.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
But in general terms, in a market economy.
Well, I mean, people are people. I think I think our society is already on board with the concept of profiting off of poor people, but I'm specifically talking about profiting off of the process of enriching those people.
Mm-hmm. And that would, of course, sort of blend in with the broader category of enriching off of them. But I understand where the distinction lies.
Right.
So, would you say that this is something that Republicans do? That they profit off of the enrichment of poor people?
Almost not at all.
Why not?
Because they have an erroneous ideological bias against giving people things. It's pretty much as simple as that.
Oh, I gotcha.
It's hard for them to see the profit at the end of the rainbow. If they did, they would do it, probably.
I do like that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. That's a good analogy. The way that everyone sort of needs things to live, right? Everyone needs something, and everyone has a soul that also needs to be fulfilled and, sort of replenished with the fruits of life.
True.
Would your philosophy fit in there as well? Because I think that would make a lot of sense. Coming at it personally too. I think that we do need to give
I'm
stuff
sorry,
to
I
people
just
that
don't.
they need.
I'm sorry, I just don't understand. Could you rephrase your question?
Yeah. I definitely agree with you. We do need to give people stuff that they need, even the stuff that they want if it meaningfully makes their lives better.
And because
Right.
there's no there's no absolute boundary that can ever be drawn between want and need either. So
That's understandable. And a lot of this comes down to fulfilling their souls as well.
right,
Or, giving them the fulfillment that they need.
Right.
Spiritual, soulless, higher dimensional. So,
well, I don't know what you mean by higher dimensional, but I think I agree with everything you said.
yeah, it's not that important because we already sort of agree
Right.
on that. And when I think about it, all sorts of beings have souls. It's not just people, but also, say, family pet. Everybody has great relations with their cat.
Right.
But everybody knows that the cat acts independently as a being. Like, why wouldn't it have a soul? It acts just like anybody else, except it's a little dumber in the head.
Right. A person's a person, no matter how small.
Exactly. I don't know exactly how far the limits of that would go, though. But if the government reaches out and is able to supply for them as well, the government is sort of a stronger social force in motion.
My husband
There's a lot
believes
that they
that.
do.
My husband believes that rocks have souls, so.
He's aware of that.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I hope you're doing alright, too.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Hey, it's alright. Hey, that's perfectly fine. So when it comes to rocks having souls, I mean, if we draw the line there, how do we fulfill the spiritual needs of a rock?
Well, you would have to ask a rock, right?
Well, of course, but do we truly know then?
Well, I think if you learn enough rockese, you could decipher it.
I'm sure geologists have made some progress.
Mm-hmm.
They know a lot about rock.
Mm-hmm. Well, no. They know almost nothing about rocks, but they know a lot more than we do.
Yeah, a lot for, your typical person. It's what they specialize in.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm very interested, should rocks have souls? I'd be very interested in the fulfillment of rock souls.
Well, so here's a thought experiment for you, Scuter.
Yes.
Why wouldn't rocks have souls? And before you answer the question, contemplate this thought experiment with me. Is there a legitimate, inherent, and fundamental difference between, and I'm talking a categorical difference, not a difference of degree. Is there a real, legitimate difference between the energy in the electrons inside the atoms of a rock and the energy in the electrons inside your computer that you're using right now to talk to me?
Well, it's very simple. God has bestowed a certain specialty, a categorical specialty, a soul, unto humans and animals. That is, God's doing it as His will.
There's no such possible thing as God that could exist.
Why not?
The definition of God requires an impossibility, therefore it could never exist.
Well, then we have to discuss the impossibility. That might be where the disagreement is.
Oh, you believe that omnipotence is possible?
It's a little more complicated than a simple yes or no.
Is it? Wait, is it?
I want to create sort of a conceptual framework too, so that you have an understanding.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna quickly flag this as I don't agree that it's more complicated than yes or no, but feel free to give as complex an answer as you choose.
Of course. In very simple terms, we could think of the universe as sort of a place or a round marble orb. You have things within the universe, you have things outside of the universe.
No.
Now, if you're...
No, that's that is oversimplified to the point of being wrong.
Well, I'm simplifying it for understanding, right?
Okay, but when you simplify something, you can't fundamentally change what it is.
Okay. Well, think of the universe as one realm, and this realm is enveloped
No.
or...
See, you're already you're already wrong.
How?
The universe is everything. There is no outside.
really?
There is no outside.
How do you know?
Because it's the definition of it.
Well, the definition is not accurate in very simple terms.
No. We created that word to describe the concept that I just relayed to you, not the other way around.
We could use a different term then. Say, all that we know of, all that we can observe.
That's the
Right?
cosmos.
All this matter, everything that works...
Okay,
within
wait, no. Everything,
nature.
no. The universe is literally means everything, and so does the cosmos. What word would you like to use?
I mean, if we're being very pedantic here, I'm not sure if there's any specific word that...
No. I'm making a philosophical point that I'm making a philosophical point to you that it's beings like you and me, humans that exist in 3 dimensions and can physically perceive at most 4, cannot possibly be coherent in saying things like outside of the universe. That's not something that we're qualified to say as human beings.
Why not?
Because you have no knowledge of... You have no evidence that there is anything outside of the universe. You have no evidence that there's any such thing as outside of the universe.
We do have evidence. It is from the Lord our God and
Okay.
Jesus, his prophet.
That's what you're going to go with?
Yes.
You expect
After
me?
all
You
this
wait.
thought,
Do you
it
expect
was
me to? Do you expect me to believe that you unironically believe what you just said to me?
Yes.
You're a believing Christian.
Yes.
You're not an atheist.
No.
You're sure?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'll take you at your word that you're a believing Christian, and we can proceed from there.
Of course, I do have some different beliefs from many other Christians.
Such
I am a
as?
true thinker. I do believe what I do, but the broad conceptuals of it, there is a God and Jesus is his prophet. Those remain true.
Oh, okay. So you believe that sometimes the laws of physics don't apply to shit, right?
What do you mean?
Well, you believe that the laws of physics don't apply to God, correct?
God supersedes them. Indeed, God created them.
The tone of your voice does not sound like that of a believer, I must say.
Okay.
Just putting that out there. I apologize if that's not the case.
I do find that kind of rude.
Well, I find it rude when people pretend to believe in drunk driving, but they don't.
That's very bizarre of you to bring up. Do I believe in drunk driving?
Oh, I'm not saying that you do. I'm just explaining to you why I'm so ruthlessly skeptical in this moment.
I understand, but I deconverted from my drunk driving beliefs after I realized that I got some of the numbers wrong.
Oh. Well,
And I've said this before as well. You know, I'm no longer a booze cruiser. I am now, as they proverbially say, a sober guy.
oh, well, my hat is off to you, sir. As a fellow sober cuck, I congratulate you.
I appreciate it. I do remember, what were we talking about? Souls and rocks?
Yeah, but we kind of got hung up on the whole part where
Yeah.
you believe in God and I don't.
Hey, it's simple stuff, man. You know?
Mm-hmm. Well, see, so the reason that I know that there's no such thing as God is because in order for something to exist, logically speaking, it has to be made of something. No matter how extraordinary the thing it's made of is, no matter how seemingly magical, there must be some internal coherence in the matter of which it is made, and that coherence governs that matter. That is my assumption for everything that you could say exists in any way.
Would you say that gravity exists in matter?
Yes, you can. You can
Wait,
literally,
what?
You can literally
Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I say that gravity exists in matter?
Does it exist as matter itself?
Yes.
Or is it intangible, just a sweeping force among us?
It has to be matter because
It literally is, because it literally breaks things a fucking part, and you can physically measure it.
it has force, therefore it is matter.
The wind is also matter. It's the same thing.
Everything that has any measurable anything is matter.
Okay.
Anything that can be perceived in any way is matter.
Yeah.
Or that can interact with anything in any way.
So, of course, like the souls of rocks, for example, those would be electrons.
Yes, because everything.
Well, yes, presuming that it's only the electrons and not the actual matter itself, because it gets a little blurry when you contemplate the equation E equals mc squared. I suppose you could just think of everything as being everything's soul.
Electrons are also matter.
Yeah, electrons are matter.
They're just really tiny.
They're a type of matter. You have protons, neutrons, and electrons.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So it all kind of comes together in that sense.
Yes, everything is matter, yes. And if God existed, he would be matter. But if he was made of matter, then he wouldn't be able to supersede the rules that govern his matter by definition. And therefore, he cannot exist.
God supersedes all of these rules.
Right. I mean, I can say that up is down, but it doesn't make it true.
Well, the difference is that one is true and the other is not.
Right. For everything that exists, something must govern it. That is true.
Yeah, you're just telling us to take it at face value.
God, your arbitrary assertion that the impossible entity known as God supersedes the known entity known as physical law is preposterous at best.
Well, that's a loaded statement. For example, you saying that is possible, right? And I think we covered that already.
Wait, what did I say?
I mean, you said that, it's impossible for God to exist, therefore it is impossible. At least that was part of the opening statement, right?
No, I didn't say it was impossible for God to exist, therefore it's impossible for God to exist. I said it's impossible for anything to exist that isn't governed by the laws of physics. And if God were to exist, he would be governed by the laws of physics. And the definition of God is that God supersedes the laws of physics. Therefore, God does not exist.
At least not as you guys defined it.
No, and not at all, because that is the definition of a God.
Right.
No, it seems like one of those premises must be wrong.
Yeah,
the
wrong, no, not the definition, the assumption that there is any such thing as a God. That's the incorrect premise.
May I kindly ask, where are the definitions coming from?
From our collective human consciousness. What do you mean?
Am I tapped into like a different part of the consciousness? I tend to believe different definitions,
What do you mean?
You wait, so by your definition, God isn't omnipotent, because that's the only thing we've used to describe him, really.
That's true. in your definition of God, is God omnipotent? Yes or no?
No, not necessarily.
Oh, well, then
It
it's
doesn't
just
have to
no.
be
Then it's just not God.
Yeah, that's not the definition of God. He
And-
knows all, sees all, knows past,
And I
future.
feel totally vindicated in telling you that you don't sound like a believer because
Yeah, if you don't say that God is not omnipotent, you do not believe in. That's not anything that I've ever heard of.
I don't consider you to be a believer
Why not?
because
you don't believe that God is omnipotent.
yeah, you just said God is not necessarily omnipotent. I believe God is necessarily omnipotent.
So does every other believer I've ever heard.
That's why I don't believe in God. Because
You're also not a believer. What grounds do you have to project your beliefs onto a believer and then claim that they are not?
Because
a believer?
the world,
hold on.
70% of the United States is are believers. I was raised in a household of believers. We do know what believers believe.
Hold on. I'm not projecting my beliefs onto you. I don't believe what I'm claiming that you believe.
Can you repeat that again?
I don't believe what I'm claiming that you believe. So
or
I'm
what he's claiming believers believe.
So I'm not projecting my beliefs onto you. I'm claiming that you're actually agnostic or deistic, not theistic. I am a Gnostic atheist, which means I know that.
You believe that God exists. So what is the difference?
What?
What meaningful difference would you make?
Wait,
between
what?
a deist
Wait.
and a theist?
Sorry, what? I still what?
Well, deists still believe in the existence of God. What meaningful difference is there?
I believe that deists believe in a definition of God. Well, no, I would put you more in the agnostic camp than the deist camp. But since you identify as a theist, that's why I would split the difference and maybe put you as kind of like a deist, because I see your ideology as more agnostic, but you identify as theistic. So
What definition do deists? And is it meaningfully different? Is it good?
So you don't use the deistic definition. You use the agnostic definition. That's why I see your ideology as agnostic. But you identify as a Christian, as a believing Christian. So I'm splitting the difference and saying you're a deist, even though it's not accurate.
Well, why would you say an accurate thing?
Well, there is no accurate label for you, so I'm doing the best I can.
Oh, I understand. It's sort of like in calculus, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't get an exact value for the limit at a point because it is undefined.
Same concept.
Therefore, you use the limit to approach that point, and you can get a general estimate based on rectangles for area under the curve in the case of integrals, stuff like that.
Bingo.
Bingo. That's all it is.
And that's the way the cookie crumbles.
I mean, if you want, we could talk about something else. Actually, calculus is quite interesting to me if you're familiar with it.
Oh, shoot. Lay it on me. What do you want to talk about?
Are you like a math? Are you interested in math at all? Do you know about this?
I love math. I haven't taken calculus yet, but I love math.
Oh, I understand that. Trigonometry?
No, I understand what calculus is perfectly well, but I haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
And no, I haven't really done trigonometry either yet.
Statistics?
I haven't taken statistics. I know a lot about statistics.
Oh, I gotcha. Oh, man. You know about integrals, right? Or called them antiderivative.
No.
Oh, well, that's one of the biggest parts of calculus.
Yeah, so I'm going to understand everything at a macro conceptual level only.
Okay. So you know about derivatives, right?
I know what a derivative is in English, not math.
Oh. I mean, integrals and derivatives are like two entire subsets of calculus. They're massive.
Mm-hmm. I assume you're correct.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm trying to think of a way to explain it to you. This stuff is conceptually interesting, right? When you go into the classes themselves, you have to crunch a lot of numbers, and that takes away some of the fun.
So this will be a good this will be a very good exercise for you then, Scooter, because it's very important. It's very, very important that people that understand math become better at communicating about math with people that don't know the nuts and bolts of it, because math is extremely crucial to our society, but people that do math are often not good at communicating about math with people that don't do math.
Oftentimes, many jobs involving math, like traffic engineering, are thankless jobs too. They go under the radar, they get things done, and then people complain.
That's true.
Don't have a functional understanding.
That's true.
So I do appreciate your enthusiasm towards it.
Yeah.
You know?
Philosophy is my thing, so I always enjoy communicating about things, and it doesn't faze me if I don't know much about them, because the intersection of philosophy and all topics is something I consider crucial. So,
well, I understand. Like, you really like philosophy, and I've known that for a while too, because you like to talk about, I think, free will.
mm-hmm.
You said that on the first server too. That's something that stuck with me. So I want to explain calculus in a way that stays conceptual in nature, because that vibes best with philosophical concept.
Correct.
Let's say that you have a line, right?
Ooh,
Let's say a line.
I'm having fun already. Wait, I have to stop you right there, though, because lines never exist.
Well, we're talking in the sense of, a Cartesian coordinate plane.
Well, just as long as we can agree that there's no such thing as a line in real life.
I don't quite understand what you mean. Like lines, like as in a perfectly straight line, infinitesimally accurate?
So my definition of a line would be, in mathematical terms, would be an infinitely long, infinitely thin.
What about piecewise functions?
Wait.
Only take a segment of the line.
Wait, what?
Those are not infinitely long.
No, so a line segment is not a line. And you still can't ever have a line segment because there's no way for something to be infinitely straight.
Okay, so I think I get what you're saying. Yeah, we're talking conceptually. We're not talking in the real world, because there is a limit to how.
Oh yeah, no. I understand that we're talking conceptually,
yeah.
but we always have to keep it tethered in reality, because conceptually conceptual shit can become bullshit in 2 seconds if you don't stay tethered.
Well, rather it can be, useless, right?
Wait, what?
I understand what you're saying, yeah. Like, if we're dealing with conceptual stuff, but it doesn't really have an application in the real world, then it's not worth anything.
Well, I think it always does. I think it always does have an application, but I think the tether is important so that you don't get turned around and start thinking left is right and down is up and get the exact opposite of the correct answer and think it's the right one or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. I agree with you on that.
Right.
So, let's talk about derivatives, right? And we'll start off with that conceptual line, this infinitely straight. It's defined by a function, y equals mx plus b.
Sorry. Hold on. One second, Scooter. Deidre's trying to ask me something. What?
Yeah.
I know.
And I have to get to sleep soon, too.
All right, Scoot. We have 15 more minutes at most, okay?
All right, I will try and teach you about calculus, and we can talk more about it in the server.
Right? Well,
it is interesting stuff.
My dear sister has already educated me on the overarching conceptual level of it, but I would greatly appreciate getting another explainer from you, because you seem to have.
Do you understand? Like you said, you didn't know what an integral is. That's a huge part of calculus, and you don't know what a derivative is either.
And yet I can explain to you, using English and philosophy, what calculus is.
Can you explain to me what derivative calculus is? differential calculus?
No, because I don't understand the contextual meaning of the prefix there.
Well, differential. Sorry, I always screw up that pronunciation. Differential calculus is a major part. It's a major component. It plays into antiderivatives and ultimately the fundamental theorem of calculus, which is sort of the area under a curve, which is a little silly.
Okay,
But,
from my perspective, that's a very, very awkward and clumsy way of describing what calculus is. But yes.
I mean, the fundamental theorem of calculus sort of integrates it all, right?
Okay, but you spoke it in the language of math and very incompletely from my perspective. So that's a double fail.
I got in one phrase. It is incomplete, right? It's not an explainer in its own. So when we're talking about derivatives, I can apply this to something real world very easily, right?
Yeah.
Think of a car that is moving, right? That car is moving at a certain velocity, 20 miles an hour, whatever works.
Sure.
The number
200 miles an hour.
Yeah. Now, we can take the derivative of the speed, or of the function of the speed, rather, and we can get acceleration. And we can move in the opposite direction. The integral, or the antiderivative of speed, would be position, should you have that information, right?
So what's your point?
Does that make sense? I'm just thinking about calculus, differential calculus, and I'm trying to mix it in with integrals, so you have a basic conceptual understanding of them.
Oh, well, it's not making a picture in my head, the words that you're using.
I don't want to pull out like Microsoft Paint. Let's go back to the car example, right? So imagine
No. Let's go back to the straight line.
Okay, so we have a straight line, right? This straight line has slope.
We're imagining a line, even though we know it's impossible that it could exist. Yes. Keep going.
Of course, we've already established this is conceptual. Formulas, functions, Cartesian coordinates, right?
Yes.
So let's say we have a straight line. The formula for typical straight line is going to be y equals mx plus b. Y as in the y-axis.
Okay.
X as
Wait,
in
I gotta
x-axis.
hold on. I'm gonna stop you right there. Okay.
Yes.
You're already deviating from what would be effective communication using English.
I'm simply. I mean.
No jargon. Don't use jargon.
You're encouraging me to go to this conceptual, really abstract, like coordinate plane, straight line, and as soon as I start speaking in those terms, you interrupt me like this isn't reaching to you.
You should tell him to say what calculus is in one sentence and then
No, I already told him I can do that. I'm waiting for him to give me the space to do that myself.
So if we are talking about a straight line, right? You could pull the antiderivative of this straight line, and you would end up with a curved line, I think, right?
Okay.
Yeah, a curved line.
Are you able to say what calculus is using only one sentence? Yes or no?
No, it's a little more complicated.
Oh,
than that. It's more
well, you can't. So I can.
First of all, that does not matter. If he cannot, he should not try to be doing what he's doing.
Okay. Calculus is when you use math to calculate things that can't actually be calculated because they're so complex. It's a sophisticated method of estimation which is actually identical to addition and subtraction because they're the same exact thing. It's just more useful because it's more addition and subtraction at once. Kind of like how more data, more speed in your data connection is better than less speed in your data connection.
I don't think that quite captures the spirit of calculus.
Oh, I think it does. I mean, if I had more time, I could make it shorter and more accurate, but I think it pretty accurately captures the spirit of calculus. Things like...
That captures the spirit of a lot of math. You just calculate things.
Yeah.
And you get results.
Yeah, it just so happens calculus is just like the rest of math. It's an estimation that we use to quantify things that exist in reality.
Yeah, obviously. That's a whole lot of math. Yeah.
So there is no there is no categorical difference. It's just that we use calculus to fill in all the gaps between all the other lesser forms of math that we have. That's all.
To some extent, calculus was sort of, it was a big part of, no, I'm thinking of something else, but there were efforts in the 18th and 19th centuries to integrate math under a broad set of principles, right? You had all sorts of different fields of math that operated using unique assumptions, different starting points, and there were books like Principia Mathematica, which tried to integrate everything under one roof, essentially. But I don't think calculus holds that sort of place. A lot of different things came together for that.
I don't understand the distinction you're drawing.
I'm not really trying to draw a distinction.
Oh, it's. I'm sorry. It sounded like you were.
Yeah, it's all right, man. I might be able to send you, say, a video about derivatives or calculus, because I understand we are running low on time.
Sure. Well, why don't you post whatever videos you find interesting on the topic in the Mathnasium, okay?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I'll find something good.
Thanks.
I'm obviously not like a professional math communicator. I'm just someone who's really interested in the topic.
Oh, of course. Yeah, no. And I apologize if it felt like I was criticizing your communication skills a little too harshly there at certain points. I
understand, because...
I hope you believe that I earnestly had your best you
were acting in good faith, of course. I don't deny that at all.
Yeah.
No, I don't see why you would act in bad faith with math. That's not something that happened.
Oh yeah. Well, but it wasn't about the math. I mean, at certain points I was criticizing you personally for your communication skills, and I just don't want you to think that I was doing that out of any sort of personal animus. Quite the opposite, in fact.
Of course. I understand that there's a lot of stuff that you don't have an understanding of here, aside from a big picture sort of overview of calculus.
Oh, I don't think that's a very charitable way of phrasing it, but I'm not sure that you intended to disrespect me.
Yeah, I'm not trying to. There's a lot of stuff to explain with calculus, and I think some of it does require sort of a math approach, like a mathematic approach. Having that mindset. Some of the language kind of spills over from that. So I understand, I'm not the best at communicating this.
Wait.
Also, some of it is really visual. I brought up Microsoft Paint earlier. That's a great place to show people, visually what happens. A line is a visual figment, right? So is the area under a curve. That's visual. You can see that with your eyes. You see it graphed out, if that makes sense. So words honestly might not be the best descriptor, but words paired with images and all the rest of it.
Sure. Well, I think words are pretty great, and I think they're sufficient if you use them well, but I do appreciate multimedia communication as well.
Yeah, we're not the best. We're not all the best with words. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah. Hi.
Hello, Natalie the cat girl.
Hello,
We're talking about calculus right now.
Hello, Natalie the cat girl. We're talking about calculus right now. Scooter thinks I don't understand things. I think...
I hate math.
What?
I hate math.
Oh, well, God hates you too.
What?
Math is God's craft. In a very proverbial way, of course.
I mean, whether you're an atheist or a believer, I think we can all agree that God is that math is the realm of God.
In a way, yeah, actually. Natalie the cat girl, what is 1 squared?
1?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
What is 0 squared?
Oh, that's 0.
Well, this has been a rousing debate on the density of my degree of comprehension of the concept of calculus. And I'm extremely grateful to you for showing up and shooting the shit with me for about an hour, even though I was a little bit mean to you sometimes. And I'm hope that it won't be the last time.
Hey, I do hope to talk to you about calculus in the future, and you said you knew stuff about trigonometry and statistics as well. I had a fun time with trigonometry. Statistics is kind of cool, actually. Lots of crunch heavy, you crunch a lot of numbers.
Also,
But if we could talk about those in the future, just have math streams, those would be really engaging.
you know what?
I think your audience
I
would
couldn't
like
I
this.
couldn't agree with you more. I think we should do regular math streams, and we can do like 75% math, 25% politics. We can like quickly cover a political topic and then move on to the math portion of the stream.
I think that would resonate a lot more with the audience. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a whole variety of intellectual stuff, political engagement, and, all the rest of it, really.
Mm-hmm. What's not to love?
Necrophilia is morally neutral.
What'd you say?
Necrophilia is morally neutral.
That's not true.
That would be a good discussion to talk
Eh.
about in the future.
Yeah, you could have your own debate with me, Natalie the cat girl.
It's
We should
true.
debate them live. I think that'd be cool.
I agree.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you so much, everybody, and I hope you all, my fellow mortals, will have a lovely evening tonight.
I'm not immortal.
You're right. You are not immortal.
No, I'm immortal. Yeah.
Oh, you are immortal?
Yeah.
Oh, well, DM me to let me know how you did that, and I'll definitely be purchasing some of that immortality from you.
I took a drink from the fountain of youth.
Oh, darn. I've been planning to do that, but I'm so forgetful.
Yeah.
I would do that, too. That sounds like fun.
See? Why do you think I want us all to be immortal, you see?
I get it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of having fun with this, too,
Wait, how do you get it if you want to be in heaven someday?
You don't?
What? Scooter?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, just have to take in a minute to process a high-level idea.
Oh.
So, the Fountain of Youth doesn't make you invulnerable, right?
It's in Utah.
Oh, yeah, no, I see what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, statistically speaking, you will eventually die anyway, yes.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yep. But it would be much more fun.
The fountain of youth is in Utah. Yeah.
I do like how you can graph it out, too, right? The statistical idea, you can graph it out maybe as a curve. As time approaches infinity, the chances of survival approach 0. That is, you're gonna die someday, right? All of us will.
Well, so in theory that is true. However, it seems to me that it should be theoretically possible to navigate your way through that parabola so that you don't, in fact, ever hit zero.
Yeah.
Well, the parabola approaches zero as
That-
you approach infinity.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Well,
And when you hit infinity, hypothetically, you hit zero.
well, but my point is, it's not necessarily the case that you ever would get there.
Meow.
Well, the odds at that point would be so infinitesimally small that
But
it would be very
except
unlikely.
we have no frame of reference for the lower limit, so we can't say that there is an absolute lower limit.
Meow.
I guess you're right. The mathematical function does have to fit reality. There is a chance that what do you think? Was it the parabola? There's a chance that the parabola never truly bottoms out at zero, but maybe it simply bottoms out at 0.1. So as every year goes by, there's always a 10%
Yeah,
chance it reaches zero.
that's precisely my point. If you find the realm in which the parabola equal the value of your position on the parabola equals 0.0 repeating 1,
Meow.
then you should be safe indefinitely, in theory.
In theory, assuming that you hit that 11% survival rate every single year.
Well, that's why you have to. That's the underpants gnome. The underpants gnomes portion of this equation is the part where you find your way to the part of the parabola that equals 0.0 repeating 1. Obviously, that's
Yeah, I understand that.
the hard part.
Sorry,
Well,
guys.
yeah.
I had to cough up a hairball there.
Sorry,
Yeah, I gotcha.
Sorry, what'd you say, Scoot?
So, in terms of... Man, I forgot what I was going to say. I was distracted by the hairball.
See, this is why I keep it 1-on-1. You see.
Meow.
All right, I muted her.
Yeah. Oh.
Uh-oh. It's time for me to go anyway. Thank you so much, Scooter. Have a nice night.
Good night.
Talk to you later.
Talk to you later.
Good night, my fellow mortals.